And good evening, race fans. This is Marty Wren for the North American Grand Prix Thursday Night GT Series. And tonight in the broadcast booth with me is John Wathen. How you doing, John?
Doing great, Marty. Good to be back. And thanks to Jack for filling in for me last week.
Yeah, for sure. That was a big help. Hold on, let me get your volume set here. Okay, there we go. We should be good. And we got qualifying already underway here.
Yeah, so drivers are just completing the first lap. We're racing from central Italy, somebody's backyard, at a track called Magione.
I always wondered how that was pronounced.
That's my best guess. I ate at an Italian restaurant today, so I'm an expert.
Then I'll defer to you, John. Yeah, this little track is going to be, I think, one of our most interesting events this season. This track is the shortest of any of the tracks of the season. It's only 1.5 miles long, more like a go-kart track with a bumpy straightaway. And these big, powerful GT cars are going to have a fun time, I can tell you.
Yeah, I think this track was designed by an Italian farmer that had about 7 or 8 acres and decided he wasn't making enough money farming, so he decided to make a track to race Vespas on.
Yeah, from what little I could find about information on the track is that they currently race both cars and motorcycles here. The track's been around since the 70s, so it's got quite a history, and it's a relatively safe track, I think. Good runoff areas and modern Grand Prix style curbing, which can be a real challenge, but the fast way around, especially in these second gear turns, as we can see in the shot right here, is going to be to get up on those curbs and straighten out those turns. In fact, I think I counted 7 of the 11 turns on this track are second gear turns with 1 first gear turn. So that kind of tells you what these guys are dealing with.
Yeah, Ian Jellicoe told me earlier he counted his shifts, and he shifted 29 times in 1 lap. And these laps are only just over a minute long.
That's a lot of shifts for not going very far.
Yeah, that's about 20. That's over 2,300 shifts for the race.
Well, thank God for paddle.
You said it was probably. You said it was probably a safe track. Yeah, I don't think they hit more than about 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, well, thank God for paddle shifters. Well, it looks like we've got some times up here on the board. Currently, our provisional pole is held by David Poole at a 108.9. And behind him, Ronnie Suarez, Chris Moses. Oop, Chris Moses just dropped down. So it's
Brad. Yeah, Brad just took the lead.
Yeah, Brad Marys now is our provisional pole. David Poole, Ronnie Suarez, Chris Moses, and Andrew Werner. So we're going to see, I think, a big shift here in the running order. We're just we've got just over 19 minutes left in qualifying, and I think these guys are still finding their legs here.
Oh, there goes Werner to the top. He was actually up about 6 tenths and lost about 4 tenths, I believe, in that last sector. He still took pole, so I think these guys can get they can get below a 108.5. So I don't expect Werner's time's going to stand unless he tops it himself.
Yeah. Well, we're on board here with Andrew Werner currently to get a driver's eye view of this track, and you can see how tight these turns are. 180-degree second gear turns and several left-right combinations where you never get out of second. And this is right there is probably the only first gear turn for some cars. And now we're on the back straightaway, such as it is, very bumpy. And I heard some talk in the paddock, some of the drivers saying that they were having some problems with brake lockup over the bumps in the braking areas.
Yeah, I did hear somebody talking about it being a bumpy track. I don't recall doing any laps here.
Well, I've done some laps here in the past, and it was always a uniquely challenging little track. And once you learned it and got it down and got a car that worked pretty well, it was a lot of fun.
Kind of reminds me of the last sector at Hungaroring, except it's the whole track.
Here from on board here with Andrew, you can see the low curbing flanked by some high curbing that can really present some problems for some people unless they've just decided they can handle it. But I think the normal way around is going to be to take as much advantage of the low curbing and try to stay off the big stuff and keep the car settled and straighten out the turn as much as possible.
It's definitely going to be a challenge. It's extremely tight track, back and forth, 90 degree and 180 degree turn. Very, very tricky pit exit. We should see some action.
Yeah, and because in several sections there where the slow turns follow each other, you know, if you kind of blow the entrance to the first one, it just messes you up for like 3 turns after that. So finding your rhythm, and looks like Copus just took his Bentley off track there in front of us.
This track has a very similar pit exit to Donington, which everybody knows, except it's even tighter. And the only line to go through turn 1 is to set up way wide to the left, which is where the pit exit is.
Yeah, we're looking at a shot here from high up of the pit exit, and you'll notice as this car leaves the pits that it's right on the fast line braking for from that short straightaway, that pit straightaway. So the guys are going to have to watch themselves, and it's blind. The pit wall goes right out to the exit where you turn onto the lane. You cannot see cars coming, and hopefully these guys have practiced enough and encountered that situation to be on their toes. Otherwise, it could get real ugly, if not entertaining for us viewers.
Yeah, it would be unfortunate to have a big crash at the pit exit.
In fact, as long as there's no penalty involved, if it were me, I would basically take that grass on pit exit to driver's left and straighten out that exit instead of turning right onto the track. And just take it over the grass and get on the track and stay as far left as possible, giving the oncoming traffic as much opportunity to avoid you.
Yeah, I've seen a couple guys do that in qualifying so far, but, you know, during the race you're not going to want to do that. You pick up a lot of dust on your tires.
True.
And it'll cost you a few seconds probably.
Yeah, if you ever needed a spotter, I mean, pit exit at this track is where it would be really helpful.
Wow, I just saw David Poole abandon his lap. Timing is telling me he was 1.1 seconds up in the second sector. I think that might not be right.
Yeah, I'm seeing Andrew Adamson was 10.4 up in the second sector and 26.1 down on the third. So yeah, We may have some timing issues here tonight, but we'll try to work around them.
Spec Moses, people were talking about Chris Moses' car being, that Mercedes being very good at this track, kind of a point and shoot car. See what he does. And his teammate Thomas Schubeck, who actually had a top 10 last race, which is pretty good for Thomas.
Yeah, the big displacement, torquey, naturally aspirated engine types, I think, may actually have an advantage, because you're basically, it's a drag race out of each one of these hairpins onto the short straights. So it's going to be a trade-off, whereas the mid-engine and rear-engine cars have much lighter front ends, potentially could be much happier on the quick turn-ins to these hairpins. But I did also hear some scuttle from the paddock area in practice that some of them are struggling to get temperature into the medium tires in the front, because there's no real high-speed sweeping turns to lean on the front tires, and the lighter front ends are going to have a little harder time generating heat. So there may be a dynamic between, the first few laps after the start or after a pit stop.
Yeah, and any of you Kunos guys may be watching this and listening. It'd be great if we could, certain tracks, if we could put softs on the front and mediums on the back, or mediums and hards. It'd be nice to have that option.
And while they're at it, just make it all four-wheel independent tire selection. That would be way cool.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just want to put a harder compound on the outside front tire that takes most of the abuse on some high-speed tracks. Yeah, we're following
So Moses is second.
Yeah, we've been following Moses around here, and he's improved. He's up to second at the moment, just short of 2/10 off of pole time.
So Dal's got a good one going.
Yeah, Aaron Parsons has
5/10 off.
is a 10th up in the first sector.
Let's see what Al can do. He's 760 behind. And he improves his time to 550, but stays in 7th.
Yeah, we're currently on board.
Definitely gonna
on board here with Parsons. See if he can improve his 5th place position currently. Aaron Parsons goes to 2nd place.
Oh, yeah, by 500. Or behind by 500.
See, Brad Mary's up there in 4th in the hunt for a top 5 starting grid, and he's 5 seconds up in the 2nd sector. That may be good, but not that good.
I think he hit the turbine.
I was going to say, somebody ought to check that car for nitrous.
I see a name that I did not recognize.
Yeah, we have a couple of new guys here tonight.
Week.
Oh, little argy-bargy there on the cool down. Go ahead, John.
Angelo Pulgar in an Audi. Did he start last week, or is today his first? Well, actually, he's showing 40 kilos, so this must be his debut.
Exactly.
Welcome, Angelo.
Yeah, welcome, Angelo. It's always good to see new talent showing up here. Hope you're having a good time. Don't be discouraged with that 40 kilos. It's only one race. Let's see. There was another name I did not recognize that I don't see now. So never mind.
I know Dan Thorpe. This is his second or third race.
Exactly. There's somebody else in practice, but they may not actually be in the event tonight, or they're having a problem getting the car gridded here. But it's a good field. It's like showing 25 cars on currently entered.
Yeah, nice field, especially a short track. I mean, it's going to make for a lot of action. These guys are going to be, the leader's going to be lapping these guys within probably, 7 or 8 laps.
Yeah,
so whoever's up front's going to have a tough time tonight. This a tight, short track like this is going to add up to some very tough, tricky conditions for the leaders.
Yeah, lap traffic's gonna be an issue much earlier in this event than we're used to seeing. So, yeah, we're currently watching Ronnie Suarez around. He's currently running in 5th. I was just noticing he's got that rear end pretty loosey-goosey, damper-wise, trying to make it work over the high portion of the curbing, or stabilize it under braking, but. There's an awful lot of vertical motion in the back of that car.
Yeah. Several of the guys are carrying weight tonight. I figured I'd go through that. Chris Moses carrying 40 kilos for winning last week at Monza. Brad's carrying 20. Suarez is carrying 20 plus 10 penalty rate from last week. John Ludden's carrying 20 kilos. Jollicoeur, Ian's carrying 30 for second place last week. Kevin Kirkbride's carrying 30, and Angelo is carrying 40 for his first race. And the only no qual we got is David Zahn's got a no qual, and he's going to start from pit lane tonight. Kind of naughty last week on the first lap.
Yep, been there, done that.
Yeah, it's not too much of a penalty at this track, to be honest, because I think there's going to be a lot of attrition on the first lap. A lot of guys bumping and banging. If you could start from pit lane and kind of hang back for the half of the first lap, probably be in good shape.
Yeah, I see Ian Jollicoeur, Mr. Super Sub, is in a BMW tonight. Looks like he's having a hard time getting that sucker slowed down and turned.
Yeah, carrying a little ballast. It's definitely gonna add up under braking.
Yeah, Ian will figure it out. So currently our running.
That's what he gets, though. He spread the wealth. He spread the wealth last week. He subbed in someone's car, finished second, so he gave them 30 kilos, and he has to take 30 himself for the next race. So, yeah, way to go, Ian.
It's called earning your pay. So our current running order, provisional pole currently is Andrew Werner, followed by Aaron Parsons, Chris Moses, Brad Marys, and David Poole.
So Andrew's on a good lap. See if he can go a little quicker in that third sector. Currently at 108.64.
Andrew just aborted.
Yep. Aaron just crossed. He was a little slower.
Yep. Just over 3 minutes to go in this session, so I think these guys are down to their last attempt.
Currently, the top 10 are within a second of each other, and I kind of expected that to be a little bit more than that. I figured maybe we might get to the top 15 within 1 second on such a short track.
I think we just witnessed a typical scenario tonight. 2 cars coming out of the pit, and the front car trying to stay out of the way, and runs into the car ahead of him, trying to let the faster car to the inside of the track. It's like they were all trying to figure out what the other guy was going to do.
Yeah, could be interesting too. The way Assetto Corsa works when you leave the pits, your car, if you're on top of somebody, if you actually leave the pits, there's no contact inside the pit lane. So if you're actually in contact with someone and you go out on track, it actually, you don't become an actual physical
object, yeah,
impact object until your cars separate. So you could actually see some interesting stuff.
Yeah,
you
but that
see some cars.
Yeah, but that won't
kind of hovering over each other.
That won't apply to a car leaving the pits against a car already on track.
I don't think so. However, I did hear from Ian earlier when he left the track. He left the pits, and someone, I think it was Ludden, came through that pit lane or crossed over the pit lane exit line when he was on a lap, and then went right through Ian's car. So if you see any anomalies like that, it could be that the car leaving pit lane doesn't become an actual contact object until it leaves the pit exit line, so it passes that. We'll just have to see. Chances are, I mean, it'd be a long shot to see something like that, but if you do see something weird, that's just because of the way the game works.
Well, we could probably just set a camera on the exit of the pit lane and be thoroughly entertained for the whole race.
Probably.
But rest assured, folks, we're not going to do that. We're going to do it the hard way and try to catch all the action as it happens. Yeah, this low shot down the back straightaway shows you how much vertical motion these cars generate over that bumpy surface. It's really quite amazing. And consider you like to set the car up soft to make it more curb friendly. That's just going to let the car move around in a straight line over those straightaway bumps. Compromise is always the goal for any good setup.
I was kind of wondering about this track. Oh, checkers are out. This is our final lap.
Aaron Parsons excuse me, John. Aaron is up a 10th in the first sector on his last attempt here. He's currently in second.
A little slower. In second.
Well, he was that last time too when he jumped up several places. So if he can get this last combination right.
Oh, he's really hitting the curb.
Nope.
Oh, no improvement. Very close.
Very close. Well, second's not a bad place to start on this little bull ring of a track. At least you're on the front row and you got a much clearer track until you run up on traffic.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that you're a setup guru, and I think if I was going into this race, I would start the car off very, very soft to try to get in and out of these very slow corners as quick as possible. Maybe take out some rear camber, just try to get more traction down.
Yeah, well, camber's always a compromise based on the track conditions, and where the track's flat or banked or whatever. But you're right, you want it soft, but that there again, that trade-off is that you give away steering response and feel. And you know, the driver wants steering response and feel, and the car wants grip. So it's a matter of how you want to drive the car and what the car really wants for a given circuit. And but yeah, this is all. This is it's going to be interesting to follow.
Well, a grid set. You want to go through it?
Yeah. Our pole setter tonight is Andrew Werner, and second is Aaron Parsons, and third is Chris Moses, and fourth is Brad Marys, and fifth is David Pohl, and sixth is Al Merriman, and seventh is Ronnie Suarez, and eighth is Christian Sanchez, and ninth is John Ludden, and in 10th is Andrew Adamson.
In 11th, Ian Jolicoeur. 12th, Trevor Snowden. 13th, Thomas Schubeck. 14th, Kevin Leknansky. 15th, Cobus de Ville. 16th, Bjorn Heyman. 17th, Iggy Giordia. 18th, Kevin Kirkbride. 19th, Dan Thorpe. And 20th, Angelo Pulgar. Welcome, Angelo.
And do we have some guests in the chat channel tonight?
I cannot see the chat channel.
Oh, then it would be hard to tell.
Yeah, I've got some resolution problems, so I'm going triple screen for the race. I can't actually see the chat tonight.
Well, apologies to anyone in chat. We won't be able to monitor you tonight, but talk amongst yourselves.
I can alt-tab out. It's safe to do that. I'll check it right now, actually.
Oh, and I think we've got more drivers here on the grid. In 21st, Sam Rolfe. In 22nd, Omar Gomez. 23rd, John McIntyre. And 24th is David Zahn. And that's your grid tonight. Got about 4 minutes to...
It's an awful healthy grid. Healthy grid for such a short track.
Yeah, I'm looking at tire selections here. If they haven't changed at the last minute, it looks like Al Merriman still has his qualifying super softs on. Andrew Adamson's is on softs currently, and most of the rest of the field is on mediums.
Yeah, I suspect. Yeah, Al's just doing his duties as the admin.
And some people like to throw a curveball and leave an odd tire selection on the car until the last minute.
That could be the case. I think at this track, though, there's so much you're turning more than you're actually going straight. So I don't think softs are going to be an option.
Yeah, that's what I heard from the paddock, the scuttlebutt in the paddock. It was not going to work out for a lot of guys. And drivers are just finishing up their drivers meeting with last-minute warnings and instructions. Well, we got a minute or so here. I think I'll give you a view of the track map.
Yeah, and I'll go through the stand.
Cool.
The standings changed quite a bit since 2 weeks ago when I was here. And as far as the team championship goes, Gotta Go By, which is Al and Brad, or Al and Aaron actually, leading the championship with 200 points, followed by 05 Motorsports, which is David and Andrew with 188. They're 12 behind, and Dominican Republic is back with 180. And then the Drivers' Championship, we've got a tie for the lead with John Ludden and Ronnie Suarez, and they have 129. Chris Moses at 118, Aaron Parsons 115, and David Poole with 110.
And the lights are about up. Here we go. Wow, 2 abreast all the way through the field here.
Yep, pretty clean start.
It's like Andrew Werner got away clean. Aaron Parsons close pursuit, followed by Chris Moses.
Yeah, nice start all the way up and down the field.
These guys know what they're doing when they do it. Andrew Werner leads the field onto the straightaway for complete the first lap here.
Just going to say, it seems like a nice, tight, tough start. Tends to lead to some pretty good starts for these guys.
Actually, it's one of the better starts I think we've had. I think these guys are very wary of what they're dealing with here.
Yeah.
Knowing that we've got 80 laps of this little bull ring tonight.
Yeah. 79 to go, so you don't want to do 40 laps with damage. Looking good. The whole field is actually bunched up, top to bottom. I don't think anybody's heading off.
Quite amazing, actually. Oh, we just got a glimpse of a couple guys side by side back here in the back.
I'm not surprised to see Andrew up front. Done a lot of laps at this track, along with his teammate David. They've got it figured out, and I was a little surprised to see David start in 5th with no weight, but I suspect these guys will be running in the top 2 or 3 by the end of the race. I think Andrew's due for a very good race. He's had some bad luck.
Oh, we just saw Trevor Snowden get on the power a little too hard there in that Mercedes. Took it around. That's gonna drop him back pretty quick here, but he's underway again with probably minimal damage. The advantage is he now
Yeah, it's a bummer.
he has a clear track. Meanwhile, up front, it looks like there's been no changes in the current running order.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough track to pass on, Marty. So, you know, kind of how we lay right now, it's going to be without a mistake. It's going to be very tough to see a change in these positions.
Yeah, I would totally agree. And we see Christian Sanchez goes by Brad Marys. I think Brad let him around. I think Brad wants to stay out of this points leading championship. And we all know Christian has a lot of enthusiasm for the loud pedal.
That's a good way to put it. Extremely fast guy. Needs to capitalize his name, though.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I got against Christian.
A little farther back, we see Andrew Adamson putting a lot of pressure on John Ludden, fighting over what is currently the 9th position.
Yeah, I saw some posts from Andrew. He's using Oculus Rift. I wonder if he's using that in the races. That'd be interesting to find out.
Sure, why not? How cool would that be? For those that don't know what we're talking about, that's a virtual reality headset.
I think I'd have to throw up at the pit stop, but if it was me.
I think, there are some nausea issues for some people with a VR headset, but from what I understand, never having tried one myself, it's like a lot of things. You just you have to get used to it, get acclimatized. I know people. I've got a family member who's a racer, just has never got into sim racing because he has nausea issues. But that's a personal thing, you know, one way or the other.
Yeah, I've been in some rough seas out on the ocean and never been seasick. However, I did try some not virtual reality, but track IR, and it made me sick, gave me a headache instantly, and almost made me throw up after just 5 or 10 minutes. It's a strange experience.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what if you'd had an opportunity to kind of like take a break, try it the following day and the following day after that to see if that issue continued for you or not. So we're on board here with that.
Yeah.
Andrew Adamson, and looks like he's pretty close to the pace of the guys in front of him here. It's like nobody's getting away from anybody.
Looks like Poole is up to 4th, putting a lot of pressure on Moses.
Oh yeah, we're up here now. Yeah, Poole looking the inside here, showing himself in Moses' mirrors, and of course that brings Ronnie Suarez right up onto their tail. So we got a three-way fight here for 3rd place. Oh, and
I'm
Aaron.
not sure. Was it Brad that qualified 3rd?
3rd or 4th. I know he was up there in the top 5, I believe. They're on board here with Aaron Parsons here, and currently in 2nd place. Keeping that within a second to the leader. So these guys and they're pulling away from the field. And now we're on board with Ronnie Suarez, currently in 5th. With 4th and 3rd right up ahead of him, David Poole and Chris Moses. So these guys are in a little scrap here for one of the podium positions very early in the race.
Like Chris is holding up fourth and fifth, but Chris is carrying 40 kilos, so not kind of not surprising.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to make this interesting to see how it shakes out.
I'm sure David knows that. He's going to want to get by Chris as quick as he can.
Yeah, because
try not to lose too much time to the first two.
Yeah, the leaders are getting away from him at this point. And a little farther back, oh boy, was that close. Thomas Schubeck was giving Ian Jolicoeur a real hard time coming down into the braking area. It looks like Thomas had to bail there to keep from hitting him. So I think that, not too surprisingly, the Torquay Mercedes is a good car for this little track. Yeah, it's really fun to watch here. Some of these close-up shots. How much suspension travel these guys are using over the bumpier sections and the curbs. I mean, these kind of cars are highly refined race cars. You know, engineered to the limit of the rules, and you just don't normally see this much chassis dynamics.
Yeah, completely. You know, you probably completely throw out your previous setup on this track.
I would expect so, yeah. Probably running a lot looser differential settings, and I would imagine probably significantly less camber in order to get maximum grip on straightaway braking and straightaway acceleration. And of course, you know, soft springs and low damper settings to try to let the suspension keep the tires on the track. Looks like Thomas Schubeck is reeled in Jolicoeur back in again here, so this little scrap is not over by any means.
So what do you think of this track, Marty?
Oh, I've always enjoyed it. You know, it was one of the early tracks released with the Assetto Corsa, and generally, I don't think I've tried the heavy GT cars here, but some of the more street-based cars, the older BMWs and stuff, I've always had a lot of fun. And of course, the cars like the Abarth Formula car, they're small, they're nimble, a lot of setup flexibility. They're more at home in a small track like this.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Of course, I'm not a fan of street cars in the sim. Just kind of, you know, I'm just more of a GT and a Formula fan.
Oh, just admit it,
There's a
John.
car out there that you can race in real life. If you could drive it in real life, why would you want to drive it in a sim? You know?
Yeah, well, race cars are more fun. But there is a particular enjoyment in, you know, a car not fully, you know, developed for a racetrack situation with minimum grip on street tires. I've always thought of it as a particularly interesting challenge, particularly if you get to row the shifter through an H pattern. Well, moving on up here, we see Christian Sanchez, Brad Marys, Al Merrimon, and John Ludden, and Andrew Adamson. All of them basically, you know, within just a few car lengths of each other. Oh, we have a Nissan just went off. Not sure who that is.
Is it Sam? Nope, it's Omar Gomez. Looks like David Poole got around Chris Moses too.
Oh, you're right. I see that.
And I think David's gonna put some distance between him and Moses. Unfortunately, he's 5 seconds behind the car in front of him.
Yeah, sorry we missed that. That would have been real interesting to see how he managed to pull that off.
Looking back, I'm seeing Ian in 11th, which is actually, I think, where he's starting. So that's a little surprise.
Yeah, and there's quite a gap between him and Andrew Adamson in 10th. So we're on board here now with Al Merrimon, currently in 8th, with a front row seat to 7th, 6th, and 5th, and 4th. Yeah, 2 Porsches in hot pursuit of a McLaren here. That was a good example. You get a little too much curb coming onto a straightaway, and you just have to wait a fraction of a second before you can get the power down. And you see how that lost Al a little bit of ground here. But he's catching right back up. So it looks like Brad Marys has pace on Christian Sanchez at the moment, but being able to do something with it is another question. Meanwhile, right behind them is that little scrape with John Ludden and Andrew Adamson. Those guys are still pretty much nose to tail here.
Yeah, I was looking up front. David Poole's really run away from Moses. He's up 4 seconds. And actually taking a little time out of Aaron Parsons. So I think Poole's the fastest guy on the track right now.
I just took a look here. David Poole has the fastest lap.
109.5 to 8. Compared to Aaron's 110 flat.
Yeah, and David's running 109s consistently here, and Aaron's running in the 110s. So it looks like David's
almost a half a second faster than his teammate.
Yeah,
he's leading the race.
Of course, David does have a clear track ahead of him here, and that helps a lot in being able to sight your best line and use your smoothest style. But when you're car length behind somebody here in these tight second gear left rights, it's a particular challenge just to keep the car where you want it. When you're close.
Yeah, I'm looking at Andrew's actually going through some lap traffic now.
Yeah, let's sit here with on board with Aaron Parsons in second and see how this lap traffic pans out for these guys. Yeah, Aaron's 3/10 off him now, so they're going to catch him in very close quarters. This is where it's going to start to get interesting. Whoa!
Oh!
Yeah, Aaron got a little antsy there trying to come onto the straightaway and lost the back end.
Oh, it was a heck of a save.
Yeah, Andrew's trying to make his presence known here. Coming up on David Zahn. Whoa! Timing is everything here, guys. Yeah, and David Zahn and Trevor Snowden ahead of him are basically in their own little scrap too. So there, David just stayed wide and let the leader through, sacrificing his proximity to Trevor. But most likely Trevor's going to come back to him when Andrew, the leader, gets around.
Yeah, hopefully Trevor will let off here.
And he does.
Yeah.
And looking in Andrew's mirror, I see a Porsche right up on David. Ooh, Aaron Parsons gives him a little tap. Says, I want by now. Well, that wasn't pretty, but it was effective.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's going to be a tough track to actually get by and let by lap traffic.
That was a little prettier. Trevor, keep it slow down on the apex and let Aaron scoot around the outside. So.
Meanwhile, Poole is under 3 seconds to the leader. He was about 4.5 last we checked. So
yeah, well, these leaders
got through that traffic pretty well.
Yeah, but that hurt the leaders. So, but David's going to have to deal with the same thing when he gets there.
I just looked at the tire selection, and Kobus is on softs along with Andrew Adamson. Those two guys are on soft tires. So I don't think they're going to be able to make 40 laps. They might be on a three stops, or actually a 2-stop strategy instead of a 1-stop.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on Adamson to see if he can go the whole stint here. He's right at this point; those softs are working good for him. He's continuing to hound John Ludden there for 9th position.
David Poole's just gaining slowly and slowly up to 2nd place.
Yeah, Bjorn Heyman just took it off, and just as his teammate came up on him, trying to hold off Adamson. So, but they got through okay. Yeah, I'm seeing that some of these cars are going to be visiting the body shop after this race is over.
That was a very, very good first lap without much contact, but such a tight course. There's going to be contact throughout the race.
Yeah, I think you have to expect it and just try to minimize the effect of, it's not a high-speed track, so a bent door or fender is not going to make that much difference. But you just definitely don't want it to result in an off that's going to drop you back through the field. So this Sanchez-Mary's battle is just coming up on the lap traffic as we speak here. Sanchez gets by a lap car and now sandwiches it between him and Brad Marys.
Yeah, good job by David.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been periodically critical of some of the lap traffic here in the past. It's difficult to appreciate what a challenge it can be to run your own race and deal with leaders who are coming through in their own race. It's part of racecraft that is only experience can really teach you. And I gotta say, this season I think the experience is showing that guys are really getting better and better at this.
Yeah, and especially somewhere it's going to show. If anywhere, it's going to show at this track. This is a very tough track. You know, a lot of these guys are going to get
Whoa!
We
got some big argy-bargy here. Did not see what led up to that. Al Merriman is now listed as back in the garage. I did see he went off into the grass. I'm not sure it was that catastrophic, but I'm sure the car became undrivable.
Oh wow, I missed that one.
Yeah, Ludden and Adamson were right there on that scene. I'm not sure they were part of it, but they've been able to continue on their scrap. And behind them, Jolicoeur and Schubeck are still a car length apart here. Just pushing as hard as they can, but there just really is not a lot of opportunity if someone doesn't make a mistake for you.
Well, neither one of those cars, Ludden or Adamson, show any damage.
We'll have to check out the race replay later on, and it'll be interesting to see what really transpired there. But when I first glimpsed of it, there was like three cars, you know, at various angles going off track, and three more cars on track trying to find a way around.
I think the top three are within a second and a half at the moment.
Yep, jumped up here to David Poole. He's definitely got the leaders right in his sights here. And I would point out, interestingly, the top three cars are rear and mid-engine cars. So these guys have figured out how to make these exotic high-performance sports GT cars work around this little bull ring of a track. Because they've opened up like 10 seconds to fourth place Chris Moses in his Mercedes.
Yeah, I'd also like to point out that all three of these top cars are not carrying any ballast. No penalty weight, no weight for winning or finishing in the top three. So I mean, it matters a lot. If you carry weight, you know, 20 laps or 28 laps into it, it's going to show.
Well, and I suspect that this track penalizes you even more for ballast weight, because it's all about, you know, getting the car slowed repeatedly into very tight turns and getting the power down and accelerating out onto the straights. And, you know, you're carrying extra mass around. And we just watched the car come out of the pits, and it was close, but no cigar.
Yep, looks like Johnny McIntyre came out of the pits and kept it clean, which is expected.
Yeah, we caught that. That's
I one of the best, cleanest racers we've ever had. Super nice guy.
And we haven't said much about Kevin Kamansky. He's currently running in 13th and the only Viper in the field. And you talk about a front engine car on steroids. So he's he's probably got his hands full. And farther up, Andrew Adamson in 9th continues to dog John Ludden. Adamson on the softs and Ludden on the medium tires. So we're now 30 laps into what we would expect to be. Whoa, maybe I spoke too soon. Adamson just basically had one of those pucker moments. He kept it on track, but he's lost about 8 or 10 car lengths. So those soft tires may be going off for him about now.
Yep, probably. And looking at the guys up front, looks like the top 3 have put 10 seconds on 4th place Moses. So once David Poole got by Moses, he's just gone on a tear. He was about 5 seconds behind the top 2, and now he's right on them. And they're 10 seconds clear of 4th place.
Yeah, I may be a little sadistic, but I always find it entertaining to watch somebody like Andrew do just what Adamson did, what he did. He knew he couldn't get the car totally stopped for the next turn, and it's like, do I steer, do I brake, do I steer, do I brake, do I do both? And he was trying everything, and he did it. And meanwhile, up front, Aaron Parsons, less than a second off the leader, Andrew Werner. So this battle has continued from the very start of the race here, and continues unabated. Who are you liking at this point for the win, John? John, you still with us?
Oops, sorry, I stepped away for a second. My initial pick would have been Andrew, but his teammate David Poole has really come on strong. He's actually, overall, he's gained about 4 or 5 seconds on these guys, so I'm going to see David Poole.
Yep, I'd have a hard time arguing with that. A lot of it will depend on how the pit stops go for these guys. If they get it quick and clean and are able to carry, continue to press hard in the second stint.
Yeah, and I think we might see a little bit of different pit strategy as far as this race is 80 laps. And the pit window is probably open about now.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, you may see some guys go in a little bit early now, especially if they have a little bit of aero damage. But, it's a much greater pit window than it is normally. So, I mean, we might see a little bit of shuffling around just due to when these guys pit.
Yeah, particularly for David Poole, if he continues to show an edge on sheer pace, pitting early for the undercut could be an advantage for him, so he can get some clear track. Of course, when you do that, it still drops you back in the field, but since the field is spread out around this track, it's a total crapshoot. I don't know how you can predict where you'll end up.
Yeah. Well, I know one you'll see is 9th place Ian Jellicoe. He's going to pit soon. He always short pit.
Well,
I'd be curious to look and see what happens to him.
Yeah, just when I mentioned David Poole's superior speed, I'm seeing lots of tire smoke. He's starting to fall back from the leaders. So, yeah, judging from the way that car is behaving, I think he's got some grip issues. So I would think he'd want to pit it in, bring it in as early as possible. Every braking area on trail brake, he's locking up the inside front wheel. And Dan Thorpe lets David Poole by nice and clean. Yeah, Poole.
Yeah, these guys currently at over 12 seconds on third or fourth place.
Yeah, David Poole's pace seems to be going away here. He was right up there within a second. Now he's 2 seconds back. Doesn't seem like much, but when we're talking about this level of competition, you know, every 1/10 of a second, every lap adds up to win or lose.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, the Porsches are pretty light on fuel. I'm not sure if the McLarens can match them on fuel, so when these guys go in, I would not be surprised to see Aaron take the lead, just because he's got to take a lot less fuel. Now, I think the McLarens may have pace on him, at least David. So it'd be interesting. We've got about 4 or 5 laps probably until we see pit stops. It's going to get exciting.
Well, I'm not seeing any chink in Andrew Werner's armor, currently leading at the moment, so I think track position is going to be more important than usual. So the undercut could serve well to get somebody, you know, to gain positions and then hold on to them to the end. Currently watching the 2 leaders, this is starting to look like the bonsai in lap for these 2 guys. Whoa, Andrew Werner gets way loose. And
he's going to lose the lead.
Aaron tucks his nose right in there to the gap and takes the lead.
At this point, I would expect to see Andrew go into the pits. He's having trouble with tires. Right now would be a good time for him to go in.
I'm afraid he and David both are suffering from broadcaster's curse. Yep, there goes Andrew in.
Very good.
David Poole and Aaron Parsons stay out. Who's those 2 slackers Who's those 2 slackers in the 4 GTs?
I'm just kind of sitting there and got my feet kicked up on the steering wheel. Well, yeah, the first sign of your tires going off, I say go in. And Andrew comes out in 6th place, right behind Brad.
First to pull the trigger.
Yep, he's about three laps shy of halfway, but he's probably not carrying a full fuel load too. And he's probably not going to have to push as hard, so at the end of the race, he's going to be there.
Yeah, Brad Marys pulls way over to let Andrew Werner go by here, knowing that Andrew has completed his pit stop and Brad has yet to make his.
Yeah, that's textbook right there. If you want to know how to let a leader go by, there you go.
And that you should, by looking at the big picture.
Yeah, just give it a little lift.
The big picture.
Yeah, a little lift, and Brad lost maybe a tenth or 2/10 on this lap. That's it.
Ooh.
David is right on.
Yes.
Aaron.
Yep. And coming up on lap traffic. I wonder if they're planning on pitting this lap. Whoa, 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 whoa. David definitely wanted to go with Aaron on that turn in there, and the lap car gave them plenty of room there, so their race was able to continue. And they stay out another lap. Well, it's interesting. David Poole's come back to life here. Well, I spoke too soon. Big lockup in the first turn for him after closing up on Aaron. But that Aaron's Porsche looks like it's on rails still, even at the very end of this first stint. See, I'm trying to spread the broadcaster's curse around. Yeah, but
Aaron's cars all tend to be on rails.
That's very true. Yeah. Yeah, David's pushing really hard here. And they're both coming in.
And they both go.
There they are. So lap 39, almost halfway here. Okay, we're going to kind of hang with the
Suarez stays out.
We're going to hang with these guys in the pits to see if there's any problems on their pit exit.
Mir stays out.
They're both away identically. Leaving the pits, no problems. And Brad Marys scoots by him. Ronnie Suarez is our current leader, has not pitted yet. So we pretty much have to wait for the pit stops to cycle through to see where we are for this second half of the race.
Well, Suarez stayed out, and Mir stayed out. Looks like Andrew gained a little bit of time on these guys. He gained about 2 seconds on Aaron. Of course, he's going to be on a little bit less tires at the end of the race. Looking at Ian Jolliker, he has not pitted yet. He's gone halfway through the race. I think that's the first.
Yep, and his rear bumper buddy there, Thomas Schubeck, has continued to hound him. These two have never, I don't think, have been more than 2 or 3 car lengths apart at the most since the start of the race.
Yeah, Ian stays out.
Oh, my mistake. That was not Schubeck in close proximity to Jolliker. That was Iggy Jordia. I think he's it was a lap down, I believe. Yeah. So Ian is prevailed up here toward the end of the first stint. against Schubeck in that fight for 9th place.
Yeah, I'm looking at up front. Werner's got 3.5 seconds on Aaron Parsons after the pit stop. And Aaron's about a half a second ahead of Poole. So, I mean, Werner really got an advantage during that stop.
Yeah, that's the typical advantage of the early stop undercut. But we have to remember that Andrews, having pitted earlier, his tires are going to be several laps older at the end of the race. So stay tuned. Don't go away.
Yeah, he's got about, I think he pitted on 35 or so, and the others pitted on 39. So he's got about 4 laps more tire wear. Meanwhile, you got Suarez and Moses and Sanchez and Brad Mears, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Is this round 10, Marty?
I was afraid you would ask me that.
I'll go look at it.
Yeah, back here a little farther back, riding with Trevor Snowden here. He's got Bjorn Heyman up ahead in the next position. So these guys have got a lot of racing left to do that to keep it interesting.
Well, it looks like this is round 9 out of 10, Marty. Next week is going to be Super Bowl at Nordschleife, and then the final round the week after.
Wow, how time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, so we're going from 1.5 miles to a 14-mile track.
And jumping back up here to the front, David Poole is on a tear behind Aaron Parsons. The lap car gets cleanly out of their way so they can continue on here. But yeah, Parsons is over 4 seconds back of Andrew Werner in the lead and fighting fiercely to defend second place. Little twitch for David Poole as he gets on the loud pedal there. On board with Chris Moses here, and he's got a lap car between him and Ronnie Suarez, and gets by cleanly there. Very cool. I think these guys have pretty much figured this little track out halfway through this race, and I guess you could call it go time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is the kind of track, like we were saying before, it makes paddle shifters just about the neatest invention ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you were actually clutch and gate shifting, you would probably not want to have 6 gears at the strap.
It does look like Chris Moses is gradually closing the gap here to Ronnie Suarez for 4th. And up front, Andrew Werner's basically holding that gap pretty steady, it appears, so without actually opening it up. So with the number of laps we got left in this race, pretty much anything's possible.
Yeah, I don't want to mention Andrew's luck, but his luck's not been good, so hopefully he will have good luck for the rest of the race.
Well, you know my pessimistic philosophy of life. You use up your bad luck, so you got nothing but good luck coming. Of course, it works the other way too. Boy, watching the glow of these brakes as they torture them on this little track makes me wonder if there was ever going to be an issue with brake life, this would be the track.
Well, possibly, but I would wonder that they're never getting that much speed up.
Well,
it's not like Road America where you have several different corners where you're slamming on the brakes from 200.
Well, the problem here is heat, an average operating temperature on a track like this. You're using the brakes so hard, so frequently, even though you're braking for shorter distances, the short gap between the repetitions mean they don't have time to cool down. So I think these kinds of tracks are typically very, very hard on brakes.
Oh boy! Aaron had a spin coming out of the corner, and Poole bumped him. I don't think he could have avoided it.
Yeah, Poole's going to let him back by.
Yep. What class?
Yeah, and Aaron's car does show some that it did suffer somewhat. Did he make wall contact? I didn't get a chance to get to him quick enough.
I don't think so. I think it was all the car, but I think Aaron just got extremely loose coming out of that corner, and Poole had nothing to do with, he had nowhere to go. But wow. Way to go, David.
Yeah, the front of Poole's car does... Oop, hold on. Yep, I see a couple dents on the nose of that McLaren, but who knows when he got those. But Aaron's car's got...
No, they made contact, but
okay.
I don't think it was David making contact. I thought Aaron came out of the corner and got very sideways.
Whoa, Aaron's sideways again. Ooh, just almost had a repeat here.
Yep.
Yeah, they're running so close together that, yeah, sometimes if you're following that close, you're just a sitting duck if a guy ahead of you just completely loses it. Yeah, Aaron's car's got damage all the way around, so not sure if that's actually affecting the performance of the car or not, but it does appear that Aaron is struggling at this point. And they have dropped, yeah, 13 seconds back from Andrew, so that was a gift for Werner.
Yeah, a lot of that gap though is David actually letting off and letting Aaron go by.
True, that's right. And take a short break, back in a sec.
I'll wrap up our standings while Marty's away. In first place, we got Andrew Werner. Second, Aaron Parsons. Third, David Poole. Followed by Ronnie Suarez, Chris Moses, Christian Sanchez, Brad Mears, John Ludden, Ian Jollycour, and Thomas Schubeck in 10th. We've got Andrew Adamson in 11th. Kovas Dabie, Kevin Lekmansky, Ian Chiordia, Bjorn Heyman, Trevor Snowden, David Zahn, and Van Thorpe. And that's up to 18th.
Okay, I'm back. What'd I miss?
Nothing. I just ran through the field.
Yeah, it looks like the leaders have lapped all the way up to 10th place. So there again, another characteristic of a very short track. Yeah, look, watching Parsons here, he's got oversteer on exit more than I've been seeing him before. I'm not sure whether the damage has affected his car or he's been pushing hard and abusing the rear tires. So we're on board with David Poole, watching the back of that battered Porsche ahead of him. I've always thought this was a rather interesting driving style. So like David's doing, dropping down to second gear and then upshifting to third early on the exit, like almost from the apex on, in order to control wheel spin.
Yeah, that little quick upshift helps to actually turn the car a little bit too.
Huh, I never heard that. Can't imagine how that would work, but I can understand going down to a slightly too low a gear to help the car rotate on turn-in, and then that gear would basically be too low to control wheel spin easily on exit, so you just upshift before you actually start to turn out of the turn. Yeah, it's like he upshifts right at the apex of the turn. Giving away your secrets here, David. Yeah, Aaron.
He sure does tons of laps, so
yeah.
he's got it figured out.
Yeah, whatever he does, he makes it work for him. And he is now in Aaron Parsons' draft. Pulls to the inside here. Aaron manages to stay to the outside and hold him off as they come up on a lap car. Lap car pulls out of the way, and the fight continues. But I was just going to say, it does appear that Aaron is struggling to control the back of the car on that corner exit, which in a Porsche is not a fun thing to do.
No, but the looser you are, the quicker you can get out of the corners, as long as you manage it.
Yeah, well, the reason I say that about the Porsche is the fact that it's the only car with a true rear engine configuration. The engine sits behind the rear axle, so you've got a major mass of the car basically leveraging the back of the car, trying to push it out. And once it starts to go, that mass doesn't want to stop going. So the Porsche is notorious for that kind of handling problem. And you always got to keep it, keep the back end planted and keep it turning on the front tires. And when it's right, it's a great car. And when it's not, and particularly in the street configuration in the hands of an inexperienced driver, it's well known to be a killer. Whoa, Aaron hits the curb and loses it.
Oh boy. Yep, we got a little loose and took some damage. And I think that's it for Aaron and David.
Yeah, we were watching from David's windshield, and Aaron got that outside tire up on the curb, and it started to slide, and it wasn't going to stop, even in the hands of someone as talented and as experienced as Aaron Parsons. Well, the Ingelicore Tom Schubeck battle continues, although not quite as close as it was. So Andrew has managed to lap now all the way up to 8th position. And we're still about 22 laps to go here, but they're 22 short laps.
Yeah, and I think these guys hate to be lapped as much as I did.
Yeah, it's just that big sign that says, I'm not on pace with the leaders. Other than that, you can just kind of keep going around, finding your own races, and mentally preparing for the next event. Oh, Kevin Lekmansky just left the track. Speaking of which, we've lost quite a few drivers here that we haven't been paying attention to. John McIntyre is out. Kevin Kirkbride is out. Al Merriman's out. Omar Gomez. Sam Rolfe. Angelo Pulgar, I think it was. Carlos De La Torre. Zach Hefner. It's quite a large attrition, but can't say we're too surprised considering the challenges that this track presents.
Yeah, very true.
Ooh, we see Trevor Snowden and David Zahn in a pair of Mercedes back here having a great little battle. Those guys are like a car length apart, and looks like they've got very equal pace in what is essentially the same car. So,
yeah, teammates.
oh, and that too. Yeah, and as we've said before, you know, that's part of what I think particularly fascinating about motor racing is it doesn't matter as much. Not that it doesn't matter, you know, where you are in the field. You know, there's a race for anybody anywhere who's basically contesting for a given position. Ooh, and David Zahn almost gets up the inside of Trevor Snowden. Not too far ahead of David and Trevor is Iggy Jordia in the Nissan. So these guys have got their own little scrap going on. Iggy's Nissan looks like it's suffered from some wear and tear at this point in the event. So it looks like he's still running strong. But looming behind him are two Mercedes, I think, that are eager to contest that position.
Well, he's a little battered.
Well, at least he's not alone in that regard. Someone else we haven't talked about is that Kevin DeBilly, K.
Cobus to VA.
Cobus, yes. And in contrast, that big red Bentley looks pretty pristine at this point. So he's kept his nose really clean here. And ahead of them, up a ways, Andrew Adamson in one of the BMWs. And then ahead of him is Thomas Schubeck, Ian Jolicoeur, looks like John Ludden has kept his nose pretty clean here. Running a somewhat lonely race considering the gap ahead and behind him. Brad Marys continues his pursuit of Christian Sanchez. And Christian can see Chris Moses up ahead, only some 2 to 3 seconds away. And it's like Ronnie Suarez is starting to close the gap on Aaron Parsons for third. So I think Aaron is struggling with a damaged car after some of those incidents. So this is going to be difficult because we've still got quite a few laps to go.
Yeah, I think with Aaron it'll be pretty much damage control from here on out.
Yeah, he's going to have a very hard time keeping Ronnie Suarez behind him. But he'll make Ronnie earn it, that's for sure. Well, we just saw an Audi leaving the pits. I'm not sure who that was. So David Poole, after taking over second place, has pulled away to a nice gap, but it's still 14 seconds off the leader. So he's got his work cut out for him if he can make any dent into Andrew Werner's lead at this point.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a dent made in Andrew's lead. We're all racing for second.
And we're looking back from Bjorn Heyman, who's down a few laps, and as the second, third place battle slowly comes up on him. Wasn't Bjorn one of those that started on the softs?
No, I don't think so. I see Ian's made his way up to 8th.
Sorry, who?
Ian.
I'm currently showing him still in 9th behind John Ludden. Ooh, we just cut the tail end of a red Bentley in a spin. Looks like there was no contact. Oh, just in time to see Ronnie Suarez make the move to take 3rd place from Aaron Parsons. Well, gotta say we saw it coming. Aaron's struggling mightily with a less than optimum car.
Yep, that was inevitable.
Well, David Poole has got that gap to the to Werner under 14 seconds, but it's going to have to come down a lot faster than that. So, but you know, anything can happen. I mean, Andrew could run into a real ambush and have a problem, lose a lot of time. So David Poole, just head down, pedal to the metal, take every second you can. Yeah, Christian Sanchez isn't too far off Chris Moses.
Looks like we're about 9 laps to go.
Yeah. So it is getting down to crunch time here. If somebody thinks they're in a position to make a move, they can't wait much longer. Yeah, Brad Marys is about the same distance behind Sanchez as Sanchez is behind Moses here in that battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th place. See, David Poole has is now down in the 12-second gap to Andrew's lead. But then Andrew is probably well aware that he's got a comfortable cushion that he can use up without taking chances. I hate it when it changes from how fast can I go to how slow can I go and still win.
I agree. But there's got to be a point there.
Ooh, and Andrew is has come up on the back of a huge pack of lap cars here. This is white knuckles time. And David Zahn moves over, makes it easy for him. Next up, ahead of Andrew, I believe, is Dan Thorpe. Yep, Dan moves over, lets him go.
Looking at your leaders. Werner's got a 10.5 second lead on David Poole.
Yeah, he's currently losing time in this lap traffic, being cautious, getting through as cleanly as he can. So yeah, he's going to lose some of that cushion, but then of course, almost inevitably, David Poole may be in the same position right toward the end. Yeah, Andrew still hasn't got around Iggy. There, Iggy goes wide and lets him through. Yeah, Zahn and Jordia and Snowden were all in their own little battle too as the leader came through. So I think you could call that sequence of overtakes pretty much textbook for everybody.
Yeah, that kind of stuff's good to see.
Trevor Snowden's showing some pretty good pace. It's taken a while for Andrew to close up on him. Yep. Yeah, Trevor had enough of a gap to the guys behind him that he slowed up and let the leader through pretty clean. But see, that puts David Poole like just under 9 seconds back now. Looks like David Zahn was giving Iggy quite a bit to think about there in the braking area. No change of position yet, but they are nose to tail.
See the gap from Andrew to David Poole has come way down. However, it's still 8.5 seconds. I think Andrew's just kind of cruising from here on out.
Yeah. He knows there's a huge pack of lap cars between him and David. So just going fast enough to keep your focus. Yeah, David's just now coming up on the back of that pack, so. It's like David Zahn did take that position from Iggy.
It's going to be interesting to see if David actually tries to make a move on Andrew.
Well, frankly, I don't see how it's going to happen. David's going to lose a lot of time through here with these guys ahead of him, even when they're good at not holding him up. And Iggy pulls over, lets David by. So as David picks his way through, let's check out the Brad, Christian, and Chris battle. These guys are only about a second apart of each other here in a battle for 5th place. And ahead of them, Aaron Parsons, who's now in 4th. I bet he's pretty happy that he's got no challenges for position either ahead or behind him here, so he can just like bring this thing home after some trauma that's showing on his car. And we're getting the message that the leader is on the final lap.
That's a lot of laps, Mark.
Yeah, but they're short laps. Yeah, the closest battle I think we've got on track here is Brad Marys is making a real sprint to catch Christian Sanchez as they come through traffic. This could get interesting.
Great job to Andrew. It's been a lot of bad luck this season, but nice job on the win.
Yeah, Andrew Werner comes across the line. checkered flag. Yeah, it's good to see. Andrew's very deserving of that. And David Poole comes across second. Ronnie Suarez rounds the last turn for third. Just as Aaron Parsons comes across the line for fourth. In a very tough race for him. Chris Moses with Christian Sanchez right on his bumper. Brad Mary's right behind him. John Ludden. One of the more lonely races out there, which is sometimes not unwelcome. Nearing the last couple of turns here to bring it home eighth. And never too far off of John through the whole race was Ian Jolicoeur. Well, there we go. Next to last race of our Thursday Night GT Series is in the books.
Yeah, we'll join you from Nordschleife next week for the Super Bowl. And wow, what a cool race that'll be from Nordschleife for the final race of the season.
Yeah, nothing like the
250 kilometers, I think.
Yeah, nothing like the green hell to decide the championship.
Yeah.
And we should
be awesome.
And we should also mention what we mean by Super Pole is it's a single car lap per lap, 1 lap attempt for qualifying for the 30-minute qualifying race next week, which will set the final grid for the main event the following week. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. I'm exhausted. And we'll hope to see you next week. Thanks, John.
Yep. Good to see you, Marty. And we'll see you next week from Germany.